His hand is on my wrist, not tight, not shaking, just certain. The air feels heavy, like the world has leaned forward and decided not to interfere. I try to step back, but the ground does not follow me. That is when I understand. Whatever he is, whatever he has decided, my wanting no longer matters. His body is changing now, hide becoming skin, bone reshaping itself with intention. The transformation is quiet, deliberate, like truth when it no longer needs disguise. His eyes stay the same. I am Zeus, he says, not as a threat, but as a fact, as if saying it makes resistance childish. I open my mouth and nothing comes out. And as the world stays silent around us, one thought cuts through the fear, sharp and unbearable. Just days ago, my life was still my own. 3 days ago, the sun felt ordinary. I was laughing in the fields with the other girls, our feet bare, our hands full of flowers we didn't need but picked anyway. We talked about nothing important, which is how you know happiness is nearby. I was a daughter then, a girl with a name that belonged only to her. No one was watching the sky. That was when we saw the bull. White, too white, standing apart from the herd, not grazing, not restless, just watching. The others laughed. Of course they did. Danger never looks like danger at first. It looks like curiosity. Someone dared me to touch him. I remember noticing how calm he was, how calm I was. His hide was warm beneath my hand. Not animal warm, human warm. I should have stepped away. Instead, I climbed onto his back, laughing, expecting him to bolt, to throw me into the dust like every other story I had heard. He didn't. He walked slowly, purposefully, toward the sea. At first, I laughed again, embarrassed by a fear I didn't yet understand. Water touched his hooves, then his legs, and the shoreline began to shrink. That's when I screamed. The land pulled away from me like a memory already fading. The bull did not struggle against the waves. The sea opened, and somewhere in my chest, a truth began to form, cold and undeniable. He was never running. He was taking me. Now I know why the bull was calm. Now I know why the sea obeyed. Now I know why no warning ever came. Because the bull was never the danger. The god was. When it was over, nothing looked broken. That frightened me more than anything else. The sky was still blue, the sea still breathing. No thunder, no judgment. The world did not react the way I needed it to. I sat there trying to remember what my body felt like before it learned a god's weight. Not injured, not destroyed, changed, as if something had been written into me without my consent. He spoke of destiny then, of sons, of kingdoms, of how history would smooth this moment until it sounded like honor. Gods love that word, destiny. It makes taking sound like giving. He asked me if I was afraid, not before, after. I didn't answer. He smiled as if silence were agreement. You will be remembered, he said, as if memory were compensation. He left before the morning. Gods are efficient. The air felt lighter when he was gone, and that terrified me because it meant the world preferred him to leave quietly. I stood alone on unfamiliar land, holding myself together out of habit, not hope, and I understood something worse than fear. He would not be punished. Nothing about this would follow him. The consequences were already choosing me instead. I felt it before anything happened. The air grew watchful, not heavy like before judging. The wind changed direction too often. Birds stopped landing near me. Even silence felt arranged. That's when I knew a goddess had noticed. Hera did not arrive in fire or thunder. That would have been honest. Instead, things misaligned. People avoided my eyes. Whispers followed me and vanished when I turned. Doors closed more gently than before, as if politeness could hide fear. I learned her name without being told. She never comes for him. She comes for what he leaves behind. I had survived Zeus, and that was unforgivable. My body began to change slowly without asking. I understood then that Zeus hadn't just touched me. He had marked me. Hera did not rage, she corrected. She did not curse my body, she cursed my position. I became untouchable, not sacred, a liability. They said I would be taken somewhere safer, somewhere quiet, as if silence could protect anyone from a goddess who governs marriage, lineage, and shame. They told me I was lucky, lucky to be alive, lucky to be remembered. This is how punishment hides, not in pain, but in comparison. At night, I spoke to the child growing inside me, not lovingly, but honestly, telling him what kind of world he was entering. A world where gods taken leave, where women absorb the consequences, where survival is interpreted as consent, proof that even when Zeus sins, someone else pays. When my son was born, proof that even when Zeus sins, someone else pays. When my son was born, the world did not pause. The sky did not acknowledge him. Gods rarely attend the consequences of their actions. I held him briefly, long enough to understand that he would belong to history more than to me. They told me he would be great, that his name would be spoken with respect, that he would rule. They never asked if I wanted greatness for him. They assumed any cost paid by a woman was acceptable, necessary. I watched him be taken from me slowly, not stolen, transferred, as if I had only been holding him for someone else all along. Stories began to circulate. They softened the edges. They said the god loved me, that I was chosen, that the bull was beautiful. They removed my fear first, then my voice, then my resistance. That is how myths are cleaned. They stopped calling me a woman. They started calling me a place, a land, a direction people point to on maps without wondering who it belonged to first. They named a continent after me, as if geography could compensate for a life. This is what the gods do best. They take moments of violence and stretch them into eternity until no one remembers where they began. Not with thunder, but with silence. I am Europa, not the myth, not the land, the woman who survived a god and was punished for it forever. If you remember my name, remember why it exists.